am so rusty at this YouTube thing. I feel like I haven't made a video in like 6 years. Anyways, let me introduce myself. I am Brittany Edwards. This channel is a box of chocolates, which just basically means that you never know what you're gonna get. Over the past current Fulbright season, I've been getting a lot of very detailed inquiries about Taiwan. What's it like? What was my time there like? I figured I might as well make a little video, share with you some answers, and you know, something to be helpful for people that are maybe just thinking about teaching English in Taiwan, or people that are interested in doing Fulbright Taiwan ETA, English teaching assistantship. If you watched my last video, then you know that I have been spending the last 30 days in full hibernation because I had 9 days of extensive human contact and I am spent. But I feel like my life is getting back together. But also, to be fair, I feel like I blame a lot of the extensive time recuperating on the lack of sunshine. I'm literally sitting right next to the window to get as much sunlight as possible because I need to photosynthesize. I don't understand why the sun wakes up in Chicago and decides I'm gonna call in for work. I'm not having it. And when the sun's not out, I don't feel that pep in my step. And I also really like the natural lighting. We're getting really distracted, but also I made these really nice Snickers. Would you like one? Oh, you don't like nice things? Well, that's a shame because Taiwan is a very nice thing. What? No claps for that segue? Trying to figure out what city to live in, any tips? You know, again, what kind of lifestyle do you like to live? Are you outdoorsy and like nightlife, introverted and don't care for the fanfare, super frugal? Do you want or need a lot of Western comforts? Good thing about Taiwan is that it's small, travel is convenient. On the West Coast, I live in 𝐀𝐔𝐓𝐇𝐎. Again, I spend a lot of time at home, as you can see from my channel. I'm always at home, and that's just because this is the place that I feel most, you know, recharged, energized. So for me, my outside environment like doesn't matter that much. Cities in 𝐀𝐔𝐓𝐇𝐎 are more dense but small urban feel versus Hualien or Taichung, which are also kind of more rural-ish places, you know, comparative. The East Coast is absolutely beautiful. The water is gorgeous blue like Chicago's, and you have the mountains and then the ocean and then like the little buildings, parks. It's really nice. Hi Brittany, I'm a big fan of your YouTube channel. Your videos are a delight. Thank you. I've been binging them for the last couple of weeks since I got accepted. Please binge me, continue to binge me. I love this. Okay, this person has placement in Kinmen. Kinmen is that very rural island, and they are feeling concerned about that, which is understandable. If I hate the concept of like, if you don't know anything about Kinmen and then now you're watching this, you're gonna feel worried, or you're potentially gonna feel worried. Please don't feel worried at all, okay? In my response, I know the thought of getting Kinmen can be kind of a bummer, but honestly, I know a whole range of experiences, and that's true for Fulbright across the board as well, from everywhere. Meaning, I know people that were in Kinmen and loved it. Some people hated it. I was in 𝐀𝐔𝐓𝐇𝐎 and I really liked it, but also most people hated it. So ultimately, it's about your personality type and what you want or value in the place that you live. So you're allowed to travel to Xiamen, China once a month, which is a 30-minute ferry ride away. There's so many ETs on Kinmen. Like when I was there were 20. 20 is a lot. You have your whole, that's an entire city. Like you guys can apply for citizenship somewhere with that, or not citizenship, but something about to get city status. Anyways, my county was 8 for reference. Actually, I think it was more than 20. I want to say it was like 25. I don't know. It was crazy. They had their whole, you know, squad conglomerate. Right. Then I talk again about saving money from living in a rural spot because it's a reality. And if there's something that you're maybe like really hoping to put your money towards, and that could be a really helpful and strategic way to save, because you know you are getting the luxury of living abroad, but you're also getting, you know, the luxury of making a little coin on the way. So, you know, something to keep in mind. Regardless of where you are, 9 times out of 10, living abroad will trigger stressors and potentially bring up things that you never had issues with before. And so I bring this up just to, you know, put out that idea and that concept that at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter where you live, because you know, we all have certain lessons that we're meant to learn and go through at specific times in our lives and specific places, or people will present themselves to put you into a space to learn those lessons, right? And so sometimes that happens through living in Kinmen or living somewhere else in Taiwan, or maybe even your college or relationships with people. Anyways, moral of the story is anywhere you go, where you live in Taiwan, where there's like this complete upheaval of everything that you've ever known, loved, you know, created safety in, it's going to bring up these different things that you maybe never even thought about before. So for example, there were some people who are biracial, but they never really identified with half of their race or half of their whatever, because they just never grew up with that parent. So they don't connect with that culture. They've never been in that environment, right? They're growing up with one half of their family, but in Taiwan, all of a sudden, this other half of their identity that they never really like, you know, connected with much before is completely in their face, and it's how they are being identified. And then that brings up all these personal internal things about the way you perceive yourself or your family, and what does it mean that you haven't identified or haven't fully embraced this other part of you because of certain circumstances not really allowed, right? So it's just like these concepts, these situations of you thinking more intently about your identity, maybe some unresolved traumas or issues that you have with I don't know, there's just a lot of different things that it could be related to in terms of what comes up, but whatever comes up is meant to, you know, help you overcome or grow from or into a lesson that maybe your life before had never allowed you to do. So I just think that that's really important to think about when going abroad, because we always think like, oh yeah, it's all sunshine and butterflies, like I'm gonna go live in a foreign country, and it's great, it's fun, it's wonderful, but also at the same time, we don't think about these other parts. Stuff like that you kind of are forced to navigate when you bring into these different circumstances, okay? Or maybe you're thinking about not taking your Fulbright. That could be a hard situation, right? Because you feel like, oh, this is such a prestigious opportunity, I feel so honored by it, so I don't want to not take it, but also there are XYZ reasons to why I don't want to take it. My response to those inquiries, unless you are going to be a teacher, going into education, academia, planning to get another degree really soon, or foreign affairs, honestly, doing Fulbright doesn't really matter. And by that I mean that there are just a lot of people that don't know what it is. They don't know the prestige it holds, and those are the only arenas where it holds weight, holds prestige. So if you're not planning on doing any of those things with your life and you're just wanting to go teach English abroad, like that can be done in other ways. Like we can arrange that to happen. Only in those realms it will like really, really help you. Again, if you're going into like corporate America or something like that, like they don't really know like how big of a deal, how, you know, honorable of an achievement it is. That is my little piece on, you know, Fulbright being a prestigious opportunity, yes, but how much will it propel you forward? It depends on what you plan to do. I have said this again and again, Fulbright was the best time of my life, like no cap, fully and completely. I absolutely loved it. What is it like for Black girls? Who did your hair? Did you feel uncomfortable? Make any Black friends? Like, you know, all these things for POC, because these are genuine real concerns for us. All of the Black people that were in Fulbright for my cohort, we had a separate Line group. Line is like the WhatsApp that's really popular in Taiwan, or it's like the WeChat that's popular in China. So we all kind of together in a way to, you know, create a community for ourselves. There's also this Brothers and Sisters of Taiwan Facebook group that is also very much so a community of Black expats living in Taiwan, and you know, they have some meetups sometimes. You can ask questions in there. You can also search for questions, because a lot of people have asked questions, and there are people that are moving to Taiwan, visiting Taiwan long term. It's a very friendly, nice community in there on the internet and I would encourage checking that out, joining into that group. And that's how you meet, you know, other foreigners that are Black people living there. I accidentally ran into someone in my grocery store, which was so crazy because like the place I was living in Taiwan, you don't see Black people there like at all. So I was like, is that right? So then we connected and that was really cool. Who did your hair? So I actually do my hair. I wanted to, I don't know if you guys have seen the cost of getting your hair done, but I like to keep my finances securely fastened to my person. So I have been doing my hair for the past couple of years. So anyways, there are some people out there braiding hair. There are barbers out there. Again, if you go in the Brothers and Sisters of Taiwan group, a lot of people have asked these questions, so you can search the group for, you know, key terms and find those answers. Also, there is a girl in Taipei, and she has a company that's Black Girl Magic Supplies Taipei. And that is my fix for, you know, getting extensions if I wanted to put some braids in, hair products, conditioner, shampoo, blah, blah, like she has them all. So, that was definitely, I think she's the only source, like unless you're getting things from Amazon or people visiting you, that was definitely where I got all of my stuff from. I would say the majority of Black expats live in Taipei, Taichung, or Kaohsiung. I think that's what it feels like. Did I feel uncomfortable? A little mix of experience, because as a Black person, there's a little bit of like that exoticism and prestige, and it's like, oh my gosh, like this foreigner, you're so special, and blah, blah, blah. So there were some times that I got like really special treatment. Like I went to this restaurant where this Netflix documentary was filmed, and they turned on the AC. They gave me some like real queen treatment, and it was really nice. He was like, yeah, come. And they invited me into like the cooking chamber. They announced me like I was some kind of special guest. So it was really nice. And it's also really jarring, like juxtaposed to your experience in America. And it just makes you realize like how traumatized we are by living here and all these things. So anyways, that was, you know, really nice things. Or sometimes you're in a store and someone just gasps and they're like, so beautiful. And they're just like whispering it under their breath, or, you know, people will comment or compliment you. And so there's that part, but then there's also the opposite, right? Where there were sometimes that I got looks of like disgust or distaste, or I was in this restaurant and this boy, I was, you know, just eating my noodles in the corner, minding my own business. I wasn't even looking at anybody. I was all alone, just sitting in the corner. And this boy started like crying, like he was terrified. He was so scared that his parents had to take turns holding him outside of the restaurant. And I just felt so bad. I started crying into my soup because I was just like, I'm just sitting here. I wasn't looking at you. Like I didn't do anything to you. And just that concept of being like demonized for who you are or something like that. That was also kind of like an uncomfortable situation. And that happened like more than once, like me being brought to tears from children being afraid of me, because I feel like ultimately it's showing this, I feel like they're too young to have been, to know better, right? Like to be like infiltrated by the society and being taught differently. So it's like the most pure or natural reaction for them to feel fear by seeing me. That was like super hard. Or there was this time that we had to work with students and we had to like make them feel comfortable and welcome them into the space, because we were doing this, think of it as like a day camp. So we were doing this day camp and they told us, you know, like welcome the children, make them feel like welcome into the space. And, you know, internally I have this dialogue with myself of like, I can't do that. Like that would be counterintuitive, counterproductive to what you want, because they feel afraid of me sometimes, like scooting away, and like it really hurts. Like it does. All of that to say is that there is a range of experiences, and that's all the time with everything, like in terms of you going there, what your experience is like. Yes, sometimes uncomfortable, yes, sometimes amazing and incredible. I definitely got some really weird questions, like if you're from America, why are you black? Are your parents black? Is this your natural hair? Clearly. But also, to be shocked, fair, whatever, my hair actually wasn't like touched as much as I expected it would be, or asked as many questions about. Like, you know, I frequently change it because I'm a black person and it just got to a point where like the teachers, the students were just very like, oh, okay, you know, they understood it. Well, that might not be the same case everywhere. Like my friend that's living in Japan, every day is like a new day for these people. They haven't gotten used to it. Just generally speaking, this is across any population. We are all gonna have different needs or experiences that just aren't relatable for other people. So for example, all of the people that had Asian heritage that were American, so they're, you know, Asian American, specifically East Asian American, they as a collective had a different experience than maybe like the white Americans or the collective experience of the black Americans. So this is why these like, you know, cultural groups are really necessary to form. It's because we all just have different, you know, shared experiences that it's nice to you know, have a space where it's validated and understood. So we created those groups, and it's just kind of like this instant camaraderie that forms. Found out I was placed in Taipei. Thoughts? Does this mean I can't get a scooter? So funnily enough, when I was living in Changhua, we were the first group there, and they said that we were not allowed to have scooters. Like we couldn't have them. And that really put a damper on a lot of people's experiences, because that's mobility, right? When you're not very mobile, your life is going to be a lot less enjoyable. They didn't want us to have scooters because it was just so dangerous in Changhua. They're like, there's just a lot of elderly people there, and they just don't follow any street directions, like there's no sidewalks. It's chaotic. When you think about Taiwan, you need to remember that it is a scooter society, which means that that is the main mode of transportation, and scooters are inherently not as safe as cars. Driving in general is already dangerous, right? And then the thing that makes it more bad with a scooter is that there's no, you know, extracurricular obstructions. Wait, what? There's no extracurricular metal or anything like that to absorb the impact of a crash, so it's like your body is just fully exposed. That being said, yes, there were scooter accidents. Yes, that is a thing that happens, just in the same way that car accidents happen. And the more people that live in a space, the more likely your scooter accident will be, right? So if there's only 10 people living in a spot, your likelihood of crashing into them is going to be a lot far reduced than if there are 1,000 people living in a specific place. So if that's something that you're really concerned about, also keep in mind that the more populated an area is, the more likely that their public transit will be on and poppin'. So like Taipei, Kaohsiung, Taichung, the West Coast, transportation and, you know, development is just like a lot more robust than the East Coast. The East Coast is very much so like, you know, rural, meaning that the high-speed train and everything is on the West Coast. The East Coast, you have to, you really need a scooter, because even the regular train system, I think, is not as helpful for getting around.